The Brooklyn drill scene exploded into the mainstream back in 2019, putting New York hip-hop back on the map. Artists like Pop Smoke, Sheff G, and Fivio Foreign all adopted the style and approach to the music of influential artists like Chief Keef while combining a grittiness and lyricism that is unique to Brooklyn. Part of what makes Brooklyn drill so irresistible is the authenticity of the street life these artists describe in their rhymes. Here's a look at the gang affiliations of the most popular Brooklyn drill rappers. Pop Smoke. Bashar Baraka Jackson, better known as Pop Smoke, was a rapper from Brooklyn, New York, who was seen by many as the face of the Brooklyn drill scene. Pop grew up in Carnegie, Brooklyn, in a Panamanian and Jamaican household. The artist famously claimed that in the hood, the only options are to rap, sell drugs, or play basketball, so he took to all three. He was arrested in the 8th grade for bringing a gun to school and later spent 2 years on house arrest for weapons charges. At 15, he received a scholarship to a prep school in Philadelphia called Rock Top Academy to play basketball. But shortly after, he was diagnosed with a heart murmur, which put an end to his basketball career. After that, he decided to go all in on rap and started making music. He released his first single, NPR, in 2018, which started building him a buzz in the Brooklyn area. He released his breakout single, Welcome to the Party, in 2019, which was later remixed by the likes of Nicki Minaj and Skepta, and followed up with his debut mixtape, Meet the Wolves, later that year. Pop Smoke frequently mentions the Wu in his music, which is a large Brooklyn street gang that has a long-standing beef with their rival gang, the Chews. Pop Smoke is believed to be a member of the 823 G-Stone Crips, a set that is part of the Woos. The Woos are more of a syndicate of different gang sets than a gang in and of itself. Woos are made up of various Bloods and Crips sets, and the Chews are also Blood, Crip, and Gangsta Disciple sets. Keep watching this video to find out what other Brooklyn rappers are known members of the Woos. After Meet the Wolves released, Pop Smoke exploded to international fame. Welcome to the Party was one of the biggest hits of 2019, and Pop even landed a feature on the song Gotti on Travis Scott's Jack Boys album. But despite his sudden ascension to stardom, Pop Smoke couldn't quite escape the streets. On January 17, 2020, the artist was arrested at JFK Airport for allegedly transporting a stolen Rolls Royce across state lines. The owner says that Pop borrowed the car for a music video and claimed he would return it the next day, but instead transported it back to his mother's house in Brooklyn. According to Complex and other sources, the police tried to get Pop to snitch on his fellow Crips, but the artist refused. He pled not guilty to the charge and was released on bail later that day. However, only a month later, on February 19, 2020, Pop was shot and killed during a home invasion in Hollywood Hills, California. Allegedly, Pop had posted a video to Instagram earlier that day of gifts he had received, one of which had the address of the home he was staying at printed on it. Around 4:30 a.m., 4 hooded men entered the home, and at some point, an altercation broke out between the artist and the robbers. Pop Smoke was shot twice in the chest and was brought to the hospital shortly after, where he was pronounced dead. 4 men were later arrested and charged with his murder: Corey Walker, Keandre Rogers, and 2 juveniles whose names were not released. It was revealed that Walker and Rogers were gang members, although it hasn't been proven whether the shooting was gang-related or just a botched robbery. The men have yet to be tried for the killing, and so more details will likely be revealed once their trial begins. Whatever the reasoning behind the murder, they robbed hip-hop of one of the most promising stars to come out of New York in a long time. Now let's take a look at a few other rising artists in the Brooklyn drill scene, who were good friends of the late Pop Smoke. Fivio Foreign. Maxie Lee Riles, also known as Fivio Foreign, is a rapper from Brooklyn, New York. Fivio was raised in the East Flatbush section of Brooklyn, in the same building as another New York drill icon, Rowdy Rebel of GS9. He started rapping in 2011 under the name Light Fivio and formed a music collective with his friends under the name 800 Foreign Side. 800 Foreign Side is also allegedly the name of a Crip set that Fivio was a part of that is aligned with the GS9 or Gangsta Stone Crips under the Wu Gang umbrella. Other GS9 members include Bobby Shmurda, Rowdy Rebel, and the late Pop Smoke. Despite the age difference between the artists, Fivio and Pop Smoke were good friends and collaborated several times on tracks like Showing Off Part 2 and Zoo York by Lil TJ. Fivio and Pop Smoke were poised to be 2 of the biggest stars in New York until Pop was killed. Fivio built a decent buzz with his music in the early 2010s, but nothing he could build a stable career off of. Then, in 2018, his mother died of a stroke. He was living with her at the time and suddenly became homeless after her death. It was at that point he decided to start making music seriously and began working harder than ever toward making his career take off. He started gaining major traction after his song Big Drip went viral. He released 2 EPs in 2019, Pain and Love and 800 BC. Then, in May 2020, he was featured on the Drake single Demons and started to become a household name. He was included in the XXL freshman class of 2020 and featured on songs with high-profile artists like Nas and French Montana. Fivio often makes references to being a Crip in his music and uses blue as a color scheme for many of his videos and album work. He also mentions being GDK or Gangsta Disciple Killer often in his songs. The Gangsta Disciples are another major gang in Brooklyn, many of whom are Trues, the enemy of the Woos. So by claiming GDK, Fivio is establishing that he has beef with the Gangsta Disciples. Yet, despite his gang ties and the references he makes in his music, Fivio claims he's now too successful to worry about petty street beef. Based on the people he's allied with, it wouldn't be smart to get on his bad side. But ultimately, Fivio has made the transition to music to stay out of the streets and doesn't have any intention of risking his life over dissing other artists. Now let's take a look at another famous Brooklyn Crip, Sheff G. Michael Williams, better known as Sheff G, is another prominent New York artist at the forefront of the Brooklyn drill scene. Raised in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn, Sheff was raised by a Trinidadian mother and Haitian father. Sheff grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment with his entire family, including his grandmother, and fell in love with the music of Chief Keef, 50 Cent, and the notorious B.I.G. He got swept up in the gang lifestyle from a young age in an attempt to make money and protect himself from threats in the neighborhood. He got in many fights growing up, and in an interview with Vlad TV, he described getting stabbed in the head in one such altercation.
If you're getting cut in the head, that means that a little bit differently, you could have gotten cut in the eye.
I got cut from the back. I didn't get cut from the front. It couldn't happen from the front.
Oh, so someone went up behind you and actually cut you in the head?
I got cut from the back of my head.
Okay.
He dropped out of high school in the 12th grade just before graduation after being arrested on a gun charge. Sheff was at Kings Plaza Mall in Brooklyn when a crew of 12 or 13 people tried to jump him for disrespecting one of the men in the group. He pulled out a gun and aimed it at them to get the group to back off. But there was a cop across the street at the time who saw the situation unfold, and Sheff turned himself in to avoid being chased. He was given probation for the weapons charge, but never returned to school. Sheff is alleged to be a member of the Moving Gang, also known as the A-Tray Gangsta Crips, along with friend and frequent collaborator Sleepy Hollow. Unlike the GS9s, Moving Gang is not associated with the Woos or the Trues. They are just plain Crips. However, Sheff and the late Pop Smoke were friends. Growing up, Sheff never dreamed of becoming a rapper, although he and his friends would often freestyle at school. His big breakthrough came in 2017 with his first song, No Suburban, which is often seen as a diss track to another prominent Brooklyn rapper, 22 G's, who released a song called Suburban the same year. 22 G's is a member of the Gangsta Disciples, who have beef with many Crip sets in Brooklyn. 22 G's is alleged to be a member of the Trues, who has dissed other Brooklyn rappers associated with the Woos like Pop Smoke and Fivio Foreign. Even though Sheff is not affiliated with the Woos, as a Crip, he has closer relationships to these artists than a GD like 22 G's. Despite the well-documented tension, both artists are quiet about the beef in interviews. However, they've gone back and forth several times on social media, and Sheff has claimed that 22 G's is a rat.
20. And I don't know who the fuck you got with you, boy. I don't know who the fuck that is standing next to that, man. That nigga shit is... Tell this pussy nigga 20, this little bum ass nigga got 2 up. This nigga got 2 5 bands of piece chain on his neck, nigga. I will slap the shit out of you, nigga. Are you dumb?
Sheff and 22 G's, along with Pop Smoke, Fivio Foreign, and Bronx artist Don Q, were banned from performing at Rollin' Loud, New York in 2019 after a warning was issued by the NYPD that bringing all of these artists together may incite violence. Sheff released his debut mixtape, The Unlucky Lucky Kid, in 2019 and released his debut album, One and Only, in 2020. He also created his own imprint, Winner Circle Entertainment, with RCA Records to release his album. He hasn't quite tipped into the mainstream the way Pop Smoke and Fivio Foreign have, yet he's racked up millions of plays on streaming services and has continued to get the respect and acclaim of hip-hop fans everywhere. With so much momentum behind him, the sky's the limit for Sheff G if he can manage to stay away from the drama.